All right, welcome to solving two-step inequalities. So day 2 of basic inequalities. So again, we're going to treat this like a normal equation. The only difference is we have the inequality sign. So first we want to get x by itself, so we always undo our plus or minus. So I see I have plus 5, so I'm going to subtract it. So I have 9x is greater than or equal to 54. Then I'm going to divide by 9. I get x is greater than or equal to 6. So I ask myself, do my checks, is my x on the left side? Yep, we're good. So we're going to have a closed-in circle, because remember we have that line. It is greater than or equal to, so the equal part makes it closed. And my inequality sign is a greater than sign, so it's telling me I'm going to shade to the right. All right, number 2. I notice that I cannot undo my 4 yet because I've got that big fraction. So typically we undo our plus or minus first, but because I cannot undo the plus in this case, I have to get rid of that fraction first. Fractions mean division, so I undo division with multiplication. 7 times 2 gives me 14. So 14 is greater than negative x plus 4. Now I can get rid of that 4. Ooh. My finger decided to glitch there. I have 10 is greater than negative x. Well, just like when we're solving a regular equation and we'd get 10 is equal to negative x, I cannot have that negative. It's like saying negative 1x. I want x simply by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1. So I get negative 10 and x. But if you recall from that last video right at the end, my sign is no longer going to be greater than. It's going to become a less than sign. Because again, when I divide by a negative number, my sign flips. So now I have 10 is less than x. So I need to rewrite that. I have my x, I have my negative 10. The x is getting the bigger side, so the x needs to get the bigger side again. So I have x is greater than negative 10. So I'm going to put a open circle at negative 10. I'm going to shade to the right. All right, number 3. I have plus, minus, and I have fractions. So the difference between 3 and number 2, let me go back for a second. Number 2 had my fraction underneath the whole thing. Is that 4 underneath both pieces in part 3? No, it's not. So because it is not underneath both terms, I have to undo that addition first. So I subtract 1 from both sides. 2 minus 1 is 1. I said 2 minus 2 is 2. I was multiplying there for a second. Then I need to undo that fraction now. Fractions mean division, so I need to multiply. So I get x is greater than 4. I did not multiply by a negative, so I don't have to flip my sign. My x is on the left side, so I do not have to rewrite my inequality. So I have an open circle at 4, getting shaded to the right. All right, number 4. I have to undo that minus 1, so I'm going to add it. So I have negative 4x is greater than or equal to 8. Next, I need to divide by negative 4. Excuse me. I divided, excuse me, let me go back up a second. Okay, so divided everything by negative 4. So I get x on my left side. I'm going to get negative 2 on my right side because 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. And because I divided by that negative sign, I need to flip it. So it now becomes a less than. So I have x is less than or equal to negative 2. So I'm going to put a closed circle above negative 2. I'm going to shade to the left. All right, number 5. Ask yourself, is that fraction part of both terms, or is it only part of one term? I'm going to let you try this one on your own. I'm going to let you come back, and then you're going to check your answer. So pause the video, because I am not going to work this out for you, and then come back and check your answer. All right. I got my answer was x is greater than or equal to negative 6. Hope you all agree. All right, let's go ahead and look at number 6. I undo my negative 1. I have 5x is less than or equal to negative 10. I divide both sides by 5. I get x and negative 2, because negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2. Now here's my question for you. Do I keep the same sign, or do I flip it? I'm going to keep the same sign because I did not divide by a negative number. Yes, my answer turned out to be negative, but that's because my 10 was already negative on that other side. I did not divide my x by negative, so therefore my sign does not flip, unlike with number 5. So then I have a closed circle at negative 2, and we are shading to the left. All right, I want you to try these two, and then check your answers against my video here in a moment. So make sure you pause, and when you have completed, press play. All right, so on this one, I was very kind, and I worked out the problem for you. So that way, if you did not get the same answer, you could at least check my work. So now, if you still didn't work it through, at least pause it, check your work, see where you messed up. All right, last two, we're going to go through these together. Number 9, if you notice, my fraction is underneath every single thing on that side. So I can go ahead and start by multiplying by 3. So I get x plus 1 is greater than or equal to 6, because 2 times 3 is 6. I can go ahead and subtract 1 to both sides. I have x is greater than or equal to 5. I have my x on my left side. I have everything by itself, so I'm going to go ahead and put a closed circle above 5. Now, 5 is not written in there. What am I going to do? Well, if you notice, on your number line, you go 0, blank spot, 10, blank spot, 20, blank spot, 30. Those blank spots are 5s, guys. So you have a 5 right here. It's given to you, I promise. My arrow is pointing to the right, so therefore I need to put my answer to the right. So, again, x is greater than or equal to 5 on number 9. All right, number 10. First steps first, get x by itself by undoing my plus or minus. So 11 minus 3 is 8. Divide both sides by negative 4. 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. I get over here x. Gotta flip my inequality sign. X is not on the left side, so let's put it on the left side. X is getting the bigger side, so I need to make sure x gets the bigger side again. We're good to graph, so we've got a closed circle at negative 2, pointing to the right. That's all I got for you.